Hey, thanks. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, you good, man.
Okay, thank you, brother Surreal. First of all, let me put out two disclaimers here. First of all, me using spiritual masturbation, that was just my street vernacular was saying he was feeling himself. Because I made so I made sure because he presented the video, when he presented the video, he said, yeah, basically you went into your preaching rant. And I know that you just kind of cut in your expert where you was getting a lot of kudos for when you, yeah, I'm gonna use it and I'm gonna be respectful and say you got in the spirit and you when you begin to preach. But within the process of that happening, the dialogue got lost. So when I was using spiritual masturbation, that was just another way of saying you feeling yourself. All right. Yeah, okay, bad play on words, maybe Sister Cherry. But now,
But
surreal.
you're
Let's
gonna
be
say
honest,
that.
brother. I know you, brother
I mean, you're
Surreal.
gonna
I know
admit
you're.
that I
I know
was
you're.
in the. You're gonna admit that I was in the spirit, but at the same
No,
time,
I
you're
know.
gonna
I never
say that
listened. You guys have a
it's.
listening problem. You guys have a listening problem. Obviously, I didn't say you
No,
were
that.
in the spirit. I said people would say you're in the spirit. That's what I
And
said.
I guess
Okay.
so I guess those people, are saying one thing, and you're saying that
Well, I'm just
I
saying.
was.
I know a lot of people that get it, especially when you're in. It's something that you agree with. People will get very. They'll get into that stream of thought, and with some, and if especially in the church world, they will say, "Hey, that brother's preaching now." You see what I mean? So I was using it in that capacity. But now let's deal with the fringe thing, because I never once said the Holy Spirit is fringes. And brother Surreal, I know you, and that's why you had to somewhat agree with me because you knew what I was talking about. I was talking about one of the functions of the Holy Spirit is to bring things into remembrance, all things into remembrance what the Father taught you. And if you understand what the fringes were, they were there, and I made sure I made note of it when I went into when I went in Leviticus for the purpose of fringes, I went in there and said that these were the fringes were there so you will remember all the commandments that God had given you. So when I was saying the fringes is by function and functionality, I was saying you don't really need fringes because now the Holy Spirit is there to bring things to your remembrance. Is that
Right.
I mean,
So
is that
my
hard to be
question
understood?
to you is right. So my question to you is, in light of this, do you still faithfully wear fringes?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I have the
Um.
Holy Spirit inside of me. Right.
Right. So the people who do wear fringes, what would you say about those individuals?
I would say two things. There's no law against wearing fringes, so they're not doing anything unlawful. Then the second thing I would say that they don't have the revelation of what the fringes represented, and now that the revelation has come, there's no need for fringes. That's what I would say.
Okay. Okay. So
Because
the
if he put in the
main
law,
reason.
if he's there to circumcise our heart and put the laws on our inward parts, then what the function of the fringes were there to when you would look down and you would see that ribbon of blue, which is really purple, that means that these laws were really heavenly laws. They came from above and not beneath. So when you look down and it would guide you, it would look to your walk. That's why they're on the hem of your garments, at the bottom of your garment. They had a
Right.
function. Would
Okay.
you agree with
And
that?
so you are basically, I guess, preaching something and making some type of parallel that the disciples never really did, as far as I know, and yet you yourself do not wear fringes. So
No,
that's the only
hold on.
thing
When
I
you
was.
say, wait. Okay, first of all, what Christ's disciples or the disciples of the apostles? Which one?
Christ's disciples.
So, I mean, if we know, we clarified, made clear that Christ wore fringes. So we must assume that his apostles wore fringes because they were customary Israelite.
And even though we could assume that, they never once made any kind of theology out of it. But the question
But
is,
brother,
why did
but
the
brother,
question
no, no,
is
no. I agree with you.
right? So
Let me deal with what you just said real quick. I agree with you. But why would okay, first of all, we live in America. There's many things we do customarily in America. that goes without saying. And let's say if our whole lives are being documented in America and the way we live, there's many nuances that uh, we're not necessarily going to highlight to really deal with all of the culture of America. Like the American flag, you're not going to say in all of the disciples wore American flags, but we know a lot of Americans are very proud of their flags customarily. But the point when Christ did wear the fringes, one time the fringes were mentioned, it presented us with the opportunity to get the revelation of the fringes. And that was the more important part. But if we know that they were customarily Jews, then we know that they wore fringes. So we don't need to even
Okay.
really get into the
Why
argument.
did
That be
Christ? Right, I got it. So, I mean, so are we to wear fringes because Christ wore fringes? Is that what you're saying?
no. I never said that. I just told you I don't wear fringes. So why would I tell other people to wear them?
No,
I'm
I just
saying if
asked a
other
question.
people chose,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm
All right.
saying is
So,
if other brothers choose to wear them as a custom, then I don't have, there's no law against the fringes. There's no law
wait,
against it, right?
wait. So,
So there's nothing. Okay, so but now let's say if I wanted to go to, let's say if I wanted to go to a feast and keep the feast with a brother and the sisters, and I put on the garments of my ancestors, then I will wear fringes. But is that going to actually do the function? Does that serve its purpose that the Holy Spirit does? No, it doesn't.
wait. So I
Right?
understand that because the Apostle Paul for evangelism had went to the feast days as well.